opportunity we have to meet this morning. We're thankful for the opportunity that we've had to be in the same case study group together this semester and to get to know each other better and become friends. And Wes, please bless Caitlin to feel better and help us to have a good, productive discussion this morning. And we love the Heavenly Father, and we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
All right. Does anybody want to kind of walk us through this case real quick a little bit? What they kind of a synopsis of what they got out of it, or what the case was about? I could as well if I need to.
This was a hard one for me. I'm going to be honest. I think it's the end of the semester, and I'm done.
That's kind of the way
Danny and I were just talking about that.
Oh boy, I just lost my train of thought. I think similar to a lot of things that we've discussed this semester, some lack of communication. You've got some lack of expectations that haven't been discussed by the main guy, Cardullo. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Who obviously is kind of probably feeling pretty good about his position. And then the new guy comes in and is excited to do things, but wants to take his time to get to know how things go before his boss starts saddling with him a whole bunch of other things that I think kind of bogged down his progress in some sense. Yeah, so I don't know. Is that a good enough synopsis? Or?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I kind of agree. It seemed like a case about they just seemed to me like they were on complete. It seemed like it started off nice.
Yeah.
And the initial meetings and all that I felt like went pretty well, and then it seemed like they both all of a sudden went opposite directions and went south, and didn't seem like there was lots of details onto what was really going on.
But did they have the direction? They just didn't communicate it properly.
I think communication was key to the whole thing. I thought it was interesting, though, as I recall, and I did this case study early in the week, and I haven't had a chance to go back over it since then. But it seems like Turner tried on multiple occasions to have a frank conversation with Cardullo, and It seemed like Cardullo just didn't really even want to talk to him or listen to what he had to say. One thing I really got out of it was I felt like Cardullo really wanted a yes man that was just going to come in and agree with everything that he said. There's this other lady that's in the case study that kind of acts that way, and it seems like that's really what Cardullo wanted.
So I was wondering too if it's like this generational gap too. I mean, you've got this young, fresh ideas kind of guy that comes in, and he's just got all of this knowledge from school, and he wants to try it out, and he's got some great ideas. And then the Cardullo guy, he's older. I mean, he's been there a while, and he's kind of like a yes sir, no sir type thing. He's the boss. It's his way. He doesn't want input. So I didn't know if it's like a generational thing too, that,
Yeah, I thought about him wanting to do things his own way, and the generation, just the differences in that would play a role in it, I think.
Have you guys seen that in jobs that you've had, where the difference in trying to deal with different generations, that that it can become tricky at times?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
at my work, I was going to say we're kind of getting into the 3 generations now. We kind of have that older, close to retirement group, kind of my age group that's kind of somewhere in the middle, and then we're starting to get some young millennials coming in, and it can be tricky.
It definitely is a challenge, especially in organizations that maybe are very specific in what they do, in an industry driven, I guess. Where I'm at, the printing industry is constantly changing, especially now, and those individuals that are holding really tight to well, we've always done it this way, that mentality, are the ones that are really struggling with change and with the opportunity for growth, because they can't see past, well, we've always done it this way and it's worked. They don't understand that business models can change based on industry standards and industry, how things go, and just how life is. And it's a challenge.
You know, I think sometimes you see companies that go under, that they were so successful for so long and they start to go under. And I think a lot of that is because they can't change with the times. They try to hold on to what they're used to doing, and they can't change with the times, which is so important to be able to do.
Right.
So I work at BYU, and we've got three big divisions at the university that I can think of that's had major shock because they haven't changed with the times. That's a good point. I look at our library. We've got a massive world-class library, but now everything's digital and people are able to access things online, and libraries could almost become obsolete, and they've had to completely refocus how they do things. The bookstore at BYU is another one. They laid off probably 40% of the people that worked at the bookstore. And it was a huge 3-story tall bookstore. But you go in there now and they've got little tiny book section, and now they sell BYU athletic wear. They've had to change what it is they sell there, and with the times. And other ones are big. We've got a big print shop as well that print materials for the LDS Church. And but they've had to change a lot too, because now people get everything on LDS Tools and on their Gospel Lab. So yeah, I don't think Cardullo really wanted to change with new things. Probably an age thing.
And that is a really big challenge when you get young, the next generation who are going to business school and they learn these very innovative techniques. They're wanting to make changes. They feel that that's what needs to happen, and it really is a hard balance that they've got to make. And it definitely is a challenge.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
Maybe we've kind of covered this, but would we say that communication was the root problem in this case then, or would we say that generational differences? What do you guys think? Or is it a combination of both?
I would say it's a combination of both. I would like to say that it's a communication thing, but I think the Turner guy, I think he's tried to communicate, and it's just not being received. So I have a hard time saying it was all communication.
I would say that the generational differences lead to the communication challenges.
Yep.
That you've got one that is really wanting to make changes. He wants Turner. He wants to develop that relationship, and Cardullo is just, no, this is how it is. Leave me alone. Do this. But the interesting thing is, he also wants them to do their own thing and not really be accountable to him to do those things. So he's kind of
sending mixed signals.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of these questions to me were really hard this week, and I think it's kind of the same thing that you guys are going through. It's the end of the semester, and I don't think this case was as clean cut as a lot of the cases have been, probably for a reason. They wanted us to think, but some of these questions, this next one was, how did Turner get himself into this predicament, and what is going on for Cardullo? And as I tried to think of it, I felt like Turner really did his homework before he came to the company. It seemed like he'd flown out there and interviewed and met with people and felt good about the city and felt good about Cardullo and felt good about the company. It felt to me like he'd done everything right. I don't know what he would have done differently when investigating the opportunity. I don't know if you guys had any different feelings.
No, because I think, like you said, this case study was a little bit harder for me, but I kind of thought the same thing. I was like, golly, I thought he did his homework. I mean, I guess he could have, I don't know. I don't know what he could have done different.
Yeah. Lisa, do you have any other thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think I agree with Danny. I think it's just one of those things that he was needing a change. This looked like something that he could really make a difference. And maybe in the end, he brought up the issue that he really didn't meet anybody else other than Cordulo that first time or that second time I think. And maybe hindsight, what it is, he needed to speak up and say, hey, can I meet some of the other individuals that I might work with or that are part of your management team to maybe get a better understanding? Build that sense of who he's talking with a little deeper instead of just one individual.
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree.
Yeah, that might have helped. And this question, what is going on for Cardulo? I kind of got the sense that I kind of got the sense that things were not really going well for Cardulo's organization. Mm-hmm. And I wondered if maybe Turner, is almost being used as a scapegoat or someone to kind of shift the blame to. Because it seems like he started really friendly and then just kind of a cold shoulder towards him. And it seemed like Turner was kind of standing on his own on a lot of issues away from Cardulo and those that supported Cardulo, although he wasn't doing it to be contradictory or to be insubordinate or anything like that. It just felt like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I do think Turner made a few minor mistakes as well. I'm not saying he was perfect in this, but I kind of got the feeling that Cardulo was having some struggles, and it almost seemed like maybe Turner was going to be the fall guy. I don't know if anybody had that thought at all.
I kind of questioned that. Yeah, I kind of was like, this sounds a little fishy.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of, I guess as I was reading it, there were pockets where I'm like, okay, what really is the story here? What's the back end of the story? Maybe there's issues with Cardulo and his boss that he's trying to resolve that then flow down to his other managers that create that turmoil. So I'm wondering if there's more to the story. And we're making some assumptions, and we have to do that, but I think there's more to the story.
Yep, I do too.
Yeah, of all the cases this semester, I think this one gave us the least information, and just like Lisa just said, left us to just kind of come up with all kinds of assumptions with not a lot to go on. Yep. And I've also always wondered, I wish that we got, the old Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. Right. I kind of wish we got that at the end of some of these case studies, because I left us.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I do too.
What did Cardulo and Turner each initially bring to the situation at MLI that would seem to ensure success or failure?
I think their experience. I mean, regardless of the where or the industry experience, they just had experience that provided good opportunities. It's how they put those opportunities to use that is the challenge.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say, qualification-wise, they're both highly educated, highly qualified. They've got, like you say, good experience. I think on paper, to me, everything looks like it should be successful when you look at the two of them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that I see anything that jumps out to me if I were just to read, their bios that would say, yeah, that doesn't look like maybe the only thing we could see is that generational issue, but you deal with generational issues all the time, no matter where you are. I deal with generational issues at my work, and I don't see it as a real hindrance. I see benefits from having real young people with new ideas and fresh energy, and I see benefits from older guys with years of experience. So I don't see that. I don't think I would have necessarily seen that as an automatic negative.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Oh. Any other thoughts on those questions?
Nope.
What were the key choice points where either of them could have done things differently?
I just kind of think that maybe Turner, once he got in there and had so much, you know, there wasn't quite as much detail to what he needed to do as he was hoping. I wonder if maybe he should have started asking for more questions then. I mean, at least then, and said, "What are we looking at? Where are we different? Where are we? You know, I don't know."
And maybe been more push back more when Cardullo gave him additional responsibilities. I was in a meeting on Thursday when we talked about how we can say no and what that really looks like, and there's always ways to handle that you say, okay, let me look at my projects, and if you want me to do this, that means this project would have to be put on the side. I'd have to let that one go, and so there's ways to counter being given more assignments with I don't have the capacity right now to deal with that. And I think he could have pushed back a little more on that.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. And I think maybe, maybe when some of those initial conflicts arose, maybe Turner could have tried a little bit more to instead of just kind of rolling his eyes about what's going on. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he could have addressed it there a little bit more. And then it kind of leads into this other question: how, if at all, should Turner approach Cardullo at the end of the case? I do feel like he's tried on several occasions to do so, but I think somehow they have to have a one-on-one sit down and really discuss this thing before it gets any further out of hand. It's my opinion.
I agree. They're gonna need to have a very uncomfortable conversation, I think.
So Turner is waiting to meet with, or the guy that's coming to town, Alan Oliver, and he's wanting to get this tied up before the guy gets to town. I think the one challenge with that is when you race to get something done to meet a deadline, you don't always accomplish it in a way it needs to be accomplished. So I guess I would my recommendation is not to rush to accomplish that, but to ensure that the conversations that you do have leading to a resolution are productive, and that you take the time to see things from a different level, so that it doesn't backfire later on.
Yep. Yep, it needs to be handled with care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a misstep, in those communications or in the preparations could really send this thing spiraling out of control or irreparably. Got to be really careful. And this one to me is just one where it's like, gosh, I feel like we're almost grasping at straws a little bit because it gave us so little to go on.
Yeah.
And I imagine they did that on purpose, for the last one. It made it a little more difficult and, wanted us to do a little more critical thinking.
Or we just don't have the right information, right?
Right.
At it in the right way.
Or that we're all at the end of the semester brains and we're like, we're done.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready for a 2-week break.
Yay!
Did anybody else have any other insights? Or we're small with just 3 of us, and maybe it's going to go a little quicker today. But does anybody have any other insights or thoughts on this case? Anything that jumped out to them that we haven't discussed?
Well, one thing that I thought of was that Cardullo guy was so mean and nasty to that Kelly guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and the Turner guy, he was like, I think he does great work. It's just different from what Cardullo wants. But then again, that's that generational difference. But I thought oh, they're kind of mean to that guy.
Well, and especially when Turner saw the opposite and
Yeah.
had a good experience with him. I think again, you said the generational thing. I think it also is just the common thread throughout all of these business studies, case studies have been the communication that sometimes isn't always there like it needs to be. So that would be another thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just thought, God, they're kind of hard on him.
Yep.
So, nope, that's all I had.
Yeah, I don't know that I've got any other further insights.
Okay, well, I'll post this then.
Thank you.
We're supposed to meet this next week as well to discuss our accountability project. Is that how you read it, or you guys had a chance to look at it?
Oh, I hadn't even looked that far, but let me look really fast because I thought this was our last, but let's see. 360 instructions. No, I don't see where it says that we need to.
The accountability final project instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And how I read it, and when I watched her PowerPoint, let's see, where does it say? Well, in her presentation, we meet as a group and go through our highs and lows of our accountability project.
See, to me, looking at the instructions for the account, it looks to me like it's a paper you're writing.
That's what I don't.
It is. If you go to her PowerPoint or the MP4 that's attached to this week, it does indicate you meet in the group.
I'm gonna pull up her PowerPoint really fast.
Can you play it? Can you share the screen, Danny, and we'll go through it together real quick?
Yeah, as soon as I get it pulled up, I'll share it.
And I guess the reason I was asking is, I know everybody's ready to move on, but got to get that taken care of. So.
Well, sure. Let's see here. Come on.
Because just looking at the instructions, it just says create a document, and then it shows to submit it.
Right.
Okay, sorry, I'm just getting it opened. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, just popped up.
Okay, through this assignment, you will be prepared to present your accountability project experience to your group, as well as provide a documentation for me to grade your project. This is also an important opportunity to reflect on the growth and learning you've acquired throughout the semester. There are questions you should reflect on and answer in your paper to me in your presentation to your group. So I wonder if, let's see, to your group, you can do a PowerPoint presentation or not. Just make sure to answer the questions. Oops, sorry. You must also present to your group in order to receive a grade for this assignment. Refer to the L14 presentation of accountability project. Let's see, did I miss some instructions over here?
So I think what we're looking at, this is the documentation that we have to give to her.
Mm-hmm.
But what she said up front, you have to present, and whether you present in PowerPoint or just answer the questions that we answered in the documentation to her, we do that in our group.
So when, let's see.
And you don't, and so she also says in the video portion of the PowerPoint, in that second file that you can download, that there isn't a discussion board where you have to submit the link, but someone just would need to email her and say, hey, we took care of this, this is who is there, and that will take care of that part of the documentation indicating we've reviewed this as a team, as our group.
Okay, so does that mean that we still meet? Oh, shoot. Does that mean we still meet? Sorry, I'm clicking too many buttons. Does that mean we still meet as a group next Thursday then?
That's how I take it, I guess. If that's something that we can all do.
Yeah.
I'm not available at 7 o'clock again next Thursday. I've got another. I didn't think we had anything, so I've got a commitment at 7 next Thursday.
Okay.
I could do like 5:30 or something. I don't know if that works for anybody else.
I can do as early as 4:30.
How about I do this? Do you want me to? I can send out an email to the whole group and just say, please review this so that we're all on the same page in what's required, and then make sure we can meet on Thursday if it's earlier, like you said, suggested Bart, 5:30 or something like that, and see.
So I'm the one that keeps screwing up our group meetings. I apologize.
No, it's okay. I didn't know we were supposed to be meeting either. I would have made plans too if I could have, but
I think it probably would go fairly quickly.
So,
but is that okay with everyone? Okay, I'll send out an email and we'll go from there.
Okay, I will stop recording this and I will post it on the discussion board.